Thank you for coming. I am actually stepping out of my comfort zone, doing something that I've never done, that I've always held in, something that I've always held near and dear to me, in my heart, in my head. Um, of course, welcome to my podcast. Welcome, everybody. This is the first of me showing me myself. I titled the name of this podcast Silent Sufferers because all too many times have I come across women and some men who have suffered some kind of trauma in silence. And that's not healthy. And either whether it be from fear or whether it's from shame, we don't come out with our stories. And the Bible says that our pain is not for ourselves. The things that we go through is for others. So, me telling my story, I feel as though I am able to help someone else out, someone else who have may not have necessarily walked in my exact shoes, but have walked a path of trauma, walked a path of pain, and they don't want to live in fear or anxiety or shame any longer. So hopefully this my journey can help others out there, can help you if you're watching me. So welcome to Silent Sufferers. My name is Sherika. You can call me Shay. If you can't remember Sherika, you can call me Shay. And I do have three screens here, so if you see me looking here, and here, because I have three screens. I have my notes, I have my recording, I have my um the cameras and the recording. So I have three different screens going on. So just bear with me. And if anybody got any pointers to tell me how to do things any better, I'm open to advice. Okay. But just to give you a little snippet, because this I'm not going to be on here long. This is just an intro video, just to let you guys know that you don't have to suffer alone. You don't have to suffer in silence. Okay. This is a safe space, a safe place. And no judgment from me. No judgment zone. And I would like for everyone else to also abide by those. No judgment zone, no hate, no anything like that. Okay? Give me a minute. That's my daughter. Okay. So I just want to let you guys know that I grew up in this town in Mobile, Alabama. It's called Pritchard. I grew up in Pritchard, Alabama. Um, in a little town where they dubbed Smurf Village. I grew up in Smurf Village. And it was quite childhood. It was challenging and interesting and colorful. Oh God, for the lack of better words, it was a circus. But I grew up in what most people would probably call a dysfunctional family, where my father was an alcoholic, and when he was drunk, he was he just became an angry person. Um, Drugs on the streets, women on the street, just what some people would call the ghetto. The ghetto, yeah. But for me, it was life. That's what it was. It was life. And more than oftentimes, my father, when he was drunk or whatever, he called his drinks, his alcohol, his popsicles. So whenever he was drunk on his popsicles, he would usually take his anger out on my mom, on my mother, and that was more times that I even cared to remember. And yeah, I remember episodes. But it was the sound of shouting and crashing and just arguing and then nothing in silence. And that would happen a lot. Something we witness nearly every day. And it was a cycle for me and my siblings. It was a cycle that we went through. And we were children. We were confused. We were more or less like We can't help our mom or can't pull our father off, our mother. It's just, we were helpless. We were confused. We were trapped or stuck in this situation. But while we all tried to stay invisible, trauma does not skip children. And each one of us, we dealt with it and probably still are dealing with it in our own separate ways and in our own different ways. But trauma doesn't skip children. Like I said, it settles in and it settles quietly and deeply. But just to keep the momentum going, in 1995, this was my senior year in high school, I went to Blunt High School, Manatee Blunt, East Side. Every time I think about Blunt, I think about East Side. I don't know why, but I do. But I dropped out in 1995, which was the year I was supposed to graduate high school because I'd gotten pregnant. And I didn't drop out because of my grades. I was straight A's and B's, very smart and very determined. But life had a way of hitting me early on. But I dropped out, but it wasn't because I wasn't capable. I felt survival was more urgent than graduation at the time. It was I was in survival mode. That's when I first started really surviving because now it's not just me, it's me and another helpless, another powerless person that I did not want the same thing for my child that I had to go through. But still though, keep going with the story. I went back in 1996. I went back a year later. I graduated, and somewhere deep down, I just knew I was meant for more. I not a high school dropout, a teenage mother. Um, the things that we've been through, I should have been on the streets with the other women that I saw, or with the other dudes selling and doing whatever. That was the path that many thought that my siblings and I would actually fall into. And I can truly say neither one of us are in those predicaments. And I also want to say that life at that time, life didn't get easier. It actually got real. Life got real. Life was life. And after I had my child, actually, I moved out on my own, raising my child. I was living on Section 8. I was on food stamps, public assistance, welfare, but I still worked a part-time job, and I still tried to go to school. At that time, I went to Bishop State Community College, and I was trying to take up professional tailoring, which I didn't need because I already knew how to sew. I was just trying to get a certificate, something behind my name. Like I said, I was meant for more, and that's what I was going to strive for. But that was my hustle, that was my survival skills. But a day came when I looked at my son, and I knew right then that was not the life I wanted for him. That was not the life I wanted for me. It was not the life I wanted for myself. Period. Him. Period. That's not what I wanted for us. We deserved better. He deserved better. So I packed up. After going through some trials and tribulations there, I packed up what I had. I didn't even have a bag. I had a box. It was a packing box. Packed that box up, and I moved to South Carolina. At that time, I was pregnant again with my second child. So I moved to South Carolina with my then boyfriend, who would later become my husband. And I thought that chapter would be a new chapter. I thought things would start over, things would start getting into the groove of being better. Didn't happen that way. I thought it would be safe. It wasn't. And eventually, As time went by, I fulfilled a dream of mine, and that dream was to always join the military. I went to two branches. I went to the Air Force and I went to the Army, and I applied. It took the Air Force forever. And I tell you, it took them forever to call me. I'm like, well, God, am I meant to go into the military? It's a dream of mine. Aren't you going to give me my dreams? And yeah, the Army called first. That's where I went. So yes, I am an Army veteran. Hoorah! But I joined the military. I was hoping for stability, um, structure. I was trying to find my purpose, so to speak. And all I found was more pain, more pain. I was sedated in AIT. I had went to sick call one day while I was in AIT. I was sick. I was sedated, and I was raped at my first duty station in Germany. I was raped. Mixed two rapes. But I still stayed. I still prayed. I still pushed through because I had mouths to feed. It was like I had the benefits, had the money, had stability. That's what I knew at the time. I had to do this. And I had the whole life together. I just had to hold it together. So I made faith. That's what helped me push through day to day. And excuse me. That's what helped me push through from day to day. And I thought if I just kept going, it will all somehow, someday, one day make sense. So all the hoopla throughout the years or whatever, my husband and I, we have five more children. We lost four on the way, but God makes no mistakes. He has the plans for my life. He knows his plan. But with each child, each heartbreak, each blow, whether it was physical, emotional, financial, each each blow was like I became more broken, more fragmented. I was like a green stick. I would bend and bend. I wouldn't necessarily break because I couldn't, but that's how it was. I became more fragmented in my marriage. I felt alone. I felt cold. I felt stale. I felt sterile. I felt isolated. It was like being the only one in a marriage. Give me just a moment. Yeah, let me call you back. I'm doing a video. Okay, all right. That was my sister. But yeah. So it was like I was living in another prison of abuse, of manipulation. It was like disparity, and then again in what it was 2017, I said no. I left. I left my marriage. I packed up my children, my minor kids, and I left. I moved to North Carolina, working in a small town in Franklin, out of I believe it was Asheville. The main hospital was Asheville, but I was working in a satellite office in Franklin. I started working for the Department of Veteran Affairs in 2017. It was a new city, new start, fresh face, just something new. But one thing I did learn was that healing is not a straight road. It's going to take twists, it's going to take turns, it's going to stop, it's going to do a U turn. I did a U turn. It winds, it circles back. Sometimes it repeats itself. I tried again, tried to make my marriage work again when I was going to relocate to San Antonio, Texas. Tried to reconciliate with my husband, hoping that maybe we could make peace. Maybe we can get along. Maybe we can raise our babies in a non-dysfunctional home with where we can show them love and support. And yeah, storms don't always pass if you stay in the same house with a leaky roof. So I found myself again leaving. So in San Antonio, I was living in San Antonio, still working for the VA, still trying to rebuild, got divorced. But this time I was alone, but I wasn't empty. I was alone, but I wasn't lonely. You catch it in a minute. But after the divorce and um, a little time had passed by, you would never guess what happened to me. My ex-husband raped me, and that broke me to the core. I would have never. I mean, granted, the things that we've been through, the things that we've seen, the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, the indifferent, never in a million years would I have thought that would come from him. And this is even after I opened up and told him about what happened to me in the military because he didn't know about it. But that's okay. This is the part where people would actually expect for me to break down, or they expect for me to hoo 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 and hoo 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 hoo, that Ursha. But yeah, so I didn't. I had to fight because I had four girls watching me. This was my reckoning. My daughters had seen the dysfunction. They lived through the dysfunction. They lived in the shadows of my survival. They are survival. Their names, survival one, two, three, and four. That's their names. But I had a choice. I had a choice of whether I wanted to crumble under the pressure or if I was going to climb above the pressure. I decided I was going to climb. I couldn't let myself down. No. Let my kids down. Hell no. So I climbed. I started therapy. I took my healing seriously. I had a small and sacred circle. I mean, when I tell you it's small, it didn't fill up one hand. So that's when I say I'm coming out openly for the first time in life. I am. Only that small sacred circle of mine actually knows the things that I've endured. Some may speculate, people I grew up with, people I used to go to church with, or they may speculate. They may be right in some areas, but they don't have the story. So I'm here to give you the story. Okay. But like I said, I formed my circle. It was small, it was sacred. I took my story out of the dark and I started laying it out, started putting it gently into the light. And I must say, I am still healing. I'm still healing. I have days where the weight is too much. I have days where I have to talk myself off of that metaphorical cliff. Like some days are really tough for me, but I've learned how to hold on. I've learned that I'm not alone. And one thing I want you to know is that you're not alone either. So if you're going through something, reach out to me. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Okay? Maybe you've been where I am. Maybe the story is not identical, but it's similar. It's familiar. The silence is familiar. The pain is familiar. But I'm here to tell you, no more silent sufferers. We're not going to suffer in silence anymore. We're going to tell our story. We're going to get it off our chest, get it off our shoulders, get it out to the atmosphere. We're going to unburden ourselves. The Lord says, put our burdens on Him. He can bear our burdens and our pain. Okay, so that's where we're going to go. So just come with me for my journey as I lay it out there to you guys. I'm not sharing this for sympathy. I'm not sharing this for as a sob story. I'm actually sharing my survival. I am sharing this for strength, not just for myself, but for anyone else who may be going through it as well. So through the tears, through the setbacks, through victories, the risings, the falling, I just want y'all to know that healing is not a destination. Healing is a decision. And this is mine. My decision is to heal. So in closing, I want to let everybody out there know that no more silent suffering. No more suffering in silence. Let's get it out. Let's talk about it. Let's get the weight off our shoulders. Let's get the weight off our hearts. Let's put it in the bosom of Jesus. Put it in God's bosom. He knows exactly what to do with it. So with that being said, everybody, no more silent suffering.